Alright, howdy folks, Farmer Devin here. While I have the day, I'm taking a few videos. So this is video number 3 that I've recorded today. This will probably be only one of the ones you see today. However, whenever you see this, hopefully it's still relevant. So I just wanted to do a quick little chat today. While I had the time this morning, prior to normal working hours, I got the dog run buttoned up a little bit more because I've got a treble dog that's been kind of getting out a little bit, hoping that I fix that. And then in addition, I added some more carbon. So I actually manage my dog runs very similar to a deep bedding sort of method, though it's a lot slower in time scale because I've only got 3 dogs. I don't have like 300 chickens or whatever you might have in a deep bedding method for livestock. So it accumulates for a little while. They have their areas that they do their business in, and most of it's left pretty barren, and then as I get time I add carbon and biochar to the entire pen, and they continue to just kind of pick their certain areas, so there's never really an accumulation to the point that they can't walk in a relatively sanitary area. But it's not a place they hang out. We don't lock them out here. This is basically just for them to go out and do their business, maybe get a little bit of fresh air before they go back inside. So let's show you just a little bit about what we have going on in there. Alright, flip the camera around here. Dog toy there, of course. Accumulation of stones and rocks from the backyard over time. And then you can see the hay that I've spread out as bedding today. Going into the dog run here, there's the gate. See my some scrap of a freezer panel or shelf or whatever it was that I used to stop the dogs from squeezing out of there because of that treble dog we mentioned earlier. Anyway, accumulation of hay, a little bit of tumbleweeds in here, all the way throughout this entire dog run. This runs approximately 40 to 50 feet and approximately 12 feet wide end to end, give or take. There is a cruck frame down there. That's what you would call that frame. So essentially you have 2 A-frames on each side, your ridge pole, and then you have, well, 2 purlins, if you will, on each side, and then and that's all tied together. So the purlins in this case and the A-frame are low enough that they act as the floor, so that I've created a deck, if you will, for the dog run. What used to be in here was something I have not picked up yet. Giggle giggle. But it was pretty well destroyed, so they had like a little, I don't know, like 2x3 little platform with some metal sheeting just around the dog door, and then a ramp coming off of it. I reused the same ramp coming off of mine. But basically it's just a basic pole structure, make it simple, and that covers giving them a deck. There's not really any sort of we don't put anything on that A-frame at this point. In the future I might look at doing something just to shade that a little better, give us a little more wind protection for that dog door. But it goes into the mud room that's very lightly heated on a thermostat. It's kept at a much lower temperature than the rest of the house, so while it's terribly inefficient, it is not the end of the world. You can see that our skirting is pretty well destroyed. This spot where it's bowed out, the wood behind it is rotted, so that's some work I have to do in the future. But back on to subject here. This is basically how we manage our dog run. Typically I use wood chips. There is some biochar that's in here as well underneath of the hay. But this morning what I did is I took in some of our old sheep hay that obviously we're not feeding the sheep anymore, so we don't have them, and just flaked it all out all the way along this dog pen. Watered it a little bit since I had the sprinkler over in the area right on the other side of that post. You can kind of see that hose a little bit, and hopefully that helps it to stick a little bit. It's been somewhat windy today and nothing has really moved, so thus far I think it's alright. And it'll be, I don't know, I'd say probably at least 5 to 6 years before this material is filled up to the point that I feel the need to remove it. Otherwise it's probably just going to be a very passive way of managing. So as the manure piles up, rather than cleaning up the manure and handling it, we just cover it with more carbon. It removes any stench. It allows the soil microbes to work on that dog manure. It keeps the dogs away from the manure by keeping them up above it, and therefore biologically safe, if you will. And yeah, it's a very simple way to manage the dog run. When that 6 or 7 year period comes up and this is too full and I just don't feel comfortable leaving it anymore, then all of that material that I decide to take out of here will go into what we colloquially refer to as our gut pile, which is basically any compost that we do not want our poultry to have access to. So this would not count as the gut pile. Gut pile is currently located just on the other side of the sheep pen, way over there, and then eventually will be located on the east fence down the hill a little ways. But yeah, so that's how we handle our dog manure. Saves us from having to hire a pooper scooper, and gives us another source of tree feed and nutrients in the future.